Please welcome contestant number 1, Addison Contreras.
When I was in elementary school, I experienced my first lockdown. Christopher Dorner was right outside my school carrying an assault rifle. And at the time, I was way too young to know what was going on, except I had to hide under the desk with the lights off and be completely silent. Other than that, I had no idea. I'm in high school now, junior year, and this lockdown drill was completely different from what I experienced. We were taught how to tie the door shut with rope. We were shown where the hammer was and exactly where on the window to break so we were able to escape. And we were taught that we threw anything and everything when the intruder enters. And I say when because we have many strategies in place, but the time we're in, it's not a matter of if, but when. We are taught endless ways to react. We are taught how to escape, that we're supposed to run, but we're not taught a single way on how to prevent any of it. In Big Bear, we don't think it can happen to us because we're such a small community, but small communities are 63% more likely to experience a school shooting than larger communities. Teachers need to be talking to the students and helping them understand why things like this can and do happen, because no kid grows up wanting to be a school shooter. We need to start recognizing where these violent things are starting from and put an end to it before I have to break the window in my history class and run. We need to notice the early on signs and learn them before I have to hide under the desk in my math class. As students, we all joke about school shootings, and we joke about suicide, and we joke about the kid who sits in the corner at lunch by himself, because we like to normalize these terrible things that should be absolutely nobody's normal. We like to joke about the things so that they become less serious, when in this time we should be making them more serious. High school has always been hard, but I think the school environment is even harder. We strive to make our schools a safe, fun, and loving environment. We spend our funding on better books, new computers, and a safety gate or two. I think we have all the right intentions, but we don't have any of the right answers. There are a few schools across the country that have implemented programs where students take care of other students. They have trained students on campus that are there and willing to help and guide their fellow classmates in need. For example, Second Step is a violence prevention curriculum not just taught to, but also includes middle school students, and they were shown to be 42% less likely to engage in violent crimes, violent content, and violent actions. They were found to choose healthier alternatives. It reduced anger, depression, and anxiety. In my years of middle school and high school, I've had 3 semesters of sex education. 93% of schools in California teach sex education. But we need to start making mental health the same priority as we do for sex education, because not all students are grown up in a home where they're taught coping skills or given resources or given alternatives. And if they don't have anywhere else to look, it's more common for them to result in violence. According to a research conducted by CNN, between January 1st, 2009 and May 21st, 2018, 288 shootings have occurred in the United States. If you were to combine all the G7 countries, we would have 57 times more than all of them. Maybe if we would have taken the time to look into what other countries were doing that was obviously effective, then we might be able to save Christian Garcia's life at the Santa Fe High School shooting. A research conducted by the National Alliance of Mental Illness states that, on average, 1 out of every 5 people suffer from a mental disorder or illness. So if the statistics are almost identical, why is the US at such a higher risk? We need to set aside our pride for one moment and realize that on this issue that can and will continue to affect thousands of people, that we might need help. Curtis from Flint, Michigan High School wrote this poem. Pow, pow, pow is all I hear when the school bell rings. I jump when someone knocks on the door too hard. My heart races when I walk through the halls at school. I feel like a duck in an open field and shooting range is in full effect. I don't go to school anymore. I go to a potential war zone. 19 years ago, America was left in shock, horror, and pain. 19 years later, kids are still waking up what ends up being their final day on this earth. They walk into that school, but they never walk back out. The definite number doesn't matter, because tomorrow it's going to be a bigger number. And the same goes for the day after that, the day after that, and the day after that. 19 years later, countless victims, yet no change. We're better than this. I don't have all the answers, and I don't think anybody does right now. But I know that if we go down the road of reaction instead of prevention, we're gonna have more school shootings. If we don't start taking care of each other, we won't have safe schools. I believe that this world is full of good and beautiful people, and that we have the potential to put a stop to these violent crimes that are affecting everybody. But not unless we make this topic one that we start talking about and speaking up about. Thank you.